Okay, okay, students. Now we are going to discuss about another topic called freedom of trade and commerce. So, in this connection, we are going to discuss a special area called freedom of trade and commerce. Article 301 to 305 of Indian Constitution deals with freedom of trade and commerce. So, in all federations, attempt was made to protect national fabric, national economic fabric, to protect the economy of the country. So all constitutions have tried to protect this freedom of trade and commerce because in every country there are units. These units we have to protect. There are barriers. To come out from these economic barriers, they have tried to protect the economic fabric of the nation. So, India is a country, is not is an exception. In India also, the same attempt was made by different constitutional provisions. That is what Article 301 to 305. So here what happened? The economic unity is essential for progress, without which there could not be any progress. Progress can be achieved only through economic unity. So here what happened? The Constitution promised to protect freedom of trade and commerce. So here Article 301 to 305 deals with these particular provisions. Okay, so we have different states. Different states have different goods. Sometimes what happens in some state, some goods are available, in some states they may not be available. So transportation, free transportation without taxation, unnecessary taxation is going to prejudice the economic interests of the nation. In that concept, here Constitution, the framers of the Constitution have tried to address this problem through these provisions 301 to 305. So here, if you come into the scheme of provisions in the Constitution, under Article 301, what it is saying? 301 of the Constitution of India declares that freedom, trade, commerce and intercourse throughout the territory of India shall be free. So, Article 301 saying freedom shall be free means there cannot be any restrictions and barriers for free flow of trade. So, this is framed under the lines of Section 92 of Australian Constitution, which says that internal carriage or ocean navigation shall be absolutely free. In the historical context, this section was intended to abolish state custom barriers. This is what language they have used in Section 92 of Australian Constitution. This 301 is framed on 92, Section 92 of Australian Constitution. So here we don't have like islands, though there is some navigation through canals, but Australia it is there. And like federal constitution like America also they have same problem, navigation through, because they are islands. But in India, this particular article is framed on the guidelines article section 82 of Australian Constitution, 92 of Australian Constitution. So what is 301 is saying? Freedom of trade and commerce. Means here what we have to understand what is trade and what is commerce. Trade means buying and selling goods. Remaining things, transportation, merchandise, that comes under commerce. Freedom of trade and commerce. Okay, this is the difference between trade and commerce. So 301 is promising freedom. What about this freedom is subject to, what is subject to? Article 302, 303, 304 and 305. These four articles are imposing. So here the freedom promised in 301 is subject to these articles. So you all know we have discussed in Fundamental Rights Article 19(1)(j), which promises freedom of trade and commerce. So here, whenever we have discussed so many cases regarding freedom, this Article 19(1)(g), where they state imposed restrictions. Means here what we have to understood is, if a tax is imposed or fine is imposed, if it is merely regulatory and compensatory, that cannot be declared as invalid under Article 301. So, if it is restricting free flow of trade or commerce, that can be declared as void under Article 301. So, which is promised in 301, if a tax or whatever the measure followed by any state is, if it is compensatory and regulatory, you cannot call it as a restriction. So, this particular free flow of trade is subject to certain restrictions. Okay, this is what 301. It is a language used in 301. So here, if you, I think you all know, you all came to understand what is 301. So if here, the word free in Article 301 does not mean freedom from laws and regulations. Okay, so that is what I told you. This is not free from regulations. Okay, regulation and restriction both are not one and same. Regulations and compensatory measures are different from restrictions. Okay, so if it is a purely regulatory and compensatory, that cannot be called as void under Article 301. Now you all came to know about 301. So now you have to look into some cases. Without going through those cases, it is very difficult to understand free flow of trade and commerce and what Constitution speaks about it. Now, if you look at the case laws, if you go through the case law, it is very easy to understand. The first case law, Atia Bari Tea Company versus State of Assam. Atia Bari Tea Company versus State of Assam, AR 1951, Supreme Court 232. AR 19. Okay, so in this case, what happened? The validity of, please listen carefully, in this case, the validity of Assam taxation on goods and carried by roads and inland waters Act of 1954 was challenged on the ground that it is violated Article 301 of the Constitution. It was not saved by Article 304b. The petitioner carried on business of growing tea and exporting to Calcutta via Assam. Court held that the impunged law undoubtedly levied tax directly and immediately on the movement of goods and therefore came within the purview of Article 301. What you have to understood is, here the tax imposed by Assam is directly and indirectly, immediately. So if the tax is like directly and immediately, that can be declared as invalid. It is restricting the freedom of free flow of business. So on that ground, because it is affecting directly freedom, that is the reason why court declared it as invalid, because it is not a regulatory method or it is not compensatory method. So as long as it is not coming in the provisions of compensatory and regulatory, it will not fall under violation under Article 301. The next case here, State of Mysore versus Sanjeevayya. State of Mysore versus Sanjeevayya. This citation is AR 1967, Supreme Court 1189. State of Sanjeevayya, Mysore versus Sanjeevayya. What is this case? The government made a rule under Mysore Forest Act 1900 banning movement of forest products between sunset and sunrise. The Supreme Court held the rule void as it was not a regulatory but restrictive measure which infringed the right guaranteed under Article 301. Here was sunset and sunrise. In between, the transport is not allowed. So what Supreme Court held in this case also, it is not regulatory and compensatory method. So it is protecting the moment, that is, it is preventing the moment of free trade, that is what it is declared as void. Okay, this is one other case. So the next, Automobile Transport Limited versus State of Rajasthan. AR 1962, Supreme Court 1406. AR 1962, Supreme Court 1406, Automobile Transport Limited versus State of Rajasthan. The appellant challenged the validity of Rajasthan Motor Taxation Act inter alia as violating Article 301. The state government imposed tax on all motor vehicles used and kept within the state of Rajasthan. The court held that tax is valid as they are only regulatory measures imposing compensatory taxes for facilitating trade, commerce and intercourse, there is no direct and immediate effect. Okay, test laid down in Atiyabari case was affirmed by the Supreme Court with clarification and regulatory measures imposing compensatory tax do not come within the purview of the restriction. That is what the Supreme Court said. Here it is regulatory and compensatory in this case. So that will not come under the purview of violation of Article 301. So the majority judgment in this particular and Atiyabari case read with majority judgment in the automobiles case as the following principles. So after this, some principles were laid down regarding the application of 301 under Constitution. So what are those? The first one is Article 301 assures freedom of interstate as well as intrastate trade, commerce and intercourse. It carries both, it is guaranteeing both interstate and intrastate commerce and trade. The next one is trade and commerce, intercourse have the widest connotation and take movement of goods and persons. The second one, it includes persons. The second one is the freedom is not only from the laws enacted in the exercise of the powers conferred by the legislative entries relating to trade and commerce, production, supply and distribution of goods, but also all taxes including tax laws. Even a tax law which is prohibiting this freedom of trade and commerce, when it is not regulatory, that will fall within the meaning of Article 301. The next one is laws which are merely regulatory and which impose purely compensatory taxes and hence intended to facilitate freedom of trade and are with the next case scope of Article 301. That is what court said. The laws were regulatory and compensatory, they will not come under the purview of 301. They are outside the purview of 301. So what you have to understood. And BR enterprises was stated. 301 is here promising freedom of trade. The petitioner had challenged. At the same time, the validity of the lotteries regulation unreasonable. It is not reasonable. Passed by Parliament. Which amounts to restriction. The state of Uttar Pradesh had passed white in order to banning lotteries otherwise of other states by virtue of power entrusted under Section 3 of the Empire Act. It regulatory or compensatory. Here, that will not come under this particular act passed by the UP 1. They challenge this is what violating of Article 301 and different cases. Okay, and 301. The next one is Constitution. State of Tamil Nadu versus. So what Supreme Court said in this case? Sanjit, they have passed Trade Company Act. State of Tamil Nadu versus Sanjit Trade Company ban. Here AR 1993 Supreme Court 237. It is coming under the Supreme Court purview of trade and 237. Whether it is trade and commerce. So what is in this Supreme Court said? Validity of Clause 3 of Tamil Nadu lottery in 1982 was challenged because violation of Article 301 chance by notification. Timber was declared to be essential article selling and a total ban was imposed on the movement of trade and commerce. What Supreme Court said in this case? Place outside the state. Look at it was held that it was regulatory measures for ensuring the availability of held the lotteries contain the element of chance and reasonable price as raised by therefore the trade and commerce as contemplated Article 301 of Timber is declared this element of chance makes a lottery a gambling
is banned.
sale of lottery tickets organized
So,
even
bearing that
throughout the
so
state
what we have
could not
to
be
understand, once a
construed
product is
be
declared
traded comes.
what Supreme Court
that
said, state,
this element
you cannot
of trade
avail
is
the
not
freedom
trade
of
is
trade
missing
and
here
commerce under
because
Article 301,
since
mere
it is
chance
declared as
is
essential
in
this
that state.
mere
Because
chance
the state is going to
resembling
declare
that
gambling,
because
there
it
is
is
nothing but a gambling.
necessity.
So here
when
what
it
is necessary?
The regulatory
It is a
essential.
regulatory
So
measure
you
passed by
cannot
UP.
declare ask
So
for
you cannot
protection
try to
under
bring
Article
it to the purview of 301.
The next
So here
case,
what Supreme Court said, this will not be called
we
as
are
trade
enterprises
and commerce
versus
because
state of
there is
UP.
mere only, it depends on
AR
mere
19,
chance. There is no
99,
skill also.
Supreme
when it comes
Court
to lottery.
1867.
So you cannot call,
We are
you can't
enterprises
bring
of
it
state
into
of
the
UP.
purview of 301
Yeah.
and
The
saying
petitioner
that
had
it is not,
challenged
the act is not
the
violated
validity of the lottery
301 and
regulation
303
act
1989.
1989. Okay. Next, if you look at
the state of
restrictions
Uttar
on
Pradesh
trade-
had passed
trade and commerce.
in order to banning
So we have
lotteries
discussed.
of other states.
So if
by
you look at
virtue
the
of power
provisions in
entrusted
detail,
under section 3
301
of the
speaks
Impinged
about
Act, they
freedom guarantee.
Here, this
So
particular
what about 302 and
act
303?
passed by the UP,
305 speaks
they
about
challenged
the
the violating
restrictions
of
on
Article
freedom of
301
trade and
and
commerce.
302
So what are those restrictions?
and
The first
303
one
of the
is
Constitution.
Parliament's power
And
to
hence
regulate
invalid.
trade and
So what
commerce
Supreme Court said in this?
in the
lottery
public interest.
They have passed,
So in the public
act
interest,
passed
under
Article 302,
Parliament
ban
authorizes
lotteries
to
What
impose
Supreme
such
Court
restrictions
and
on the
their
freedom of trade
contention
and
is,
commerce.
it is coming
Or intercourse
under
between
the
the
state and another
purview of
within the part of
trade
territory of
and
India
commerce.
as
Whether
may
it
be
is
required
trade and commerce.
the
But what
public
Supreme
interest.
Court
The
said?
question whether
No, you
a
cannot
restriction imposed
bring
by Parliament by
lottery
law in the
into the
are not
purview of trade and
justiciable
commerce
because
issue.
lottery is a mere
302
chance.
what it is saying,
It's not
Parliament can impose
like
restriction
trade
in
buying,
public
selling,
interest, first
and
point.
it is
Question
not
is what is
not
public
coming under
interest?
the
Purview
purview
of
of
trade
trade
and
and
commerce.
commerce.
So
What Supreme
if
Court
it
said
is
in
not
this case,
public interest,
if
you
you
can
look at
challenge it in
Supreme
court
Court
of law, the
judgment,
court will
what it
decide.
says under Article 302.
Supreme
Okay.
Court held the
So,
lotteries
contain the
the
element
power
of
of
chance
Parliament
and
under
cannot
Article 302 is
therefore
limited
be
by
trade and
301
commerce.
Article
As
301
contemplated
provides that the
Article
Parliament
301
shall
of
not have the power
Constitution.
to make any
This
law
element of chance
giving any
makes a
preference to
lottery
any state
a gambling.
or other
Sale of
by
lottery
virtue of
tickets
entry
organized even
relating to
throughout
trade
the
and
state could
commerce
not be
in
construed
Parliament.
to
Though
be trade and commerce. What
here
Supreme Court
303
said,
what it is saying,
this element
power given
of trade is
under
not
Article
trade is missing
302
here because it is a mere
when it
chance.
comes to 305 what
So,
James,
this mere chance
in
is
the name of
resembling
this
gambling.
Article
There is
302
nothing
by
but a
virtue of
gambling.
302.
So here what is
the regulatory
this
should
regulatory
not give
measure
preference
passed
to
by the
any
UP.
state over
So
other
you
state
cannot try to bring
amounts
it
to
to
the
the
violation of
to the
equality.
purview of 301.
Okay.
So here what
If a
Supreme Court
Parliament
said,
passed
this
a law
will not be
restricting
called
freedom
as trade and
public
commerce
interest.
because there is
In
mere
that sense,
only it depends
if
on
it looks
mere
like it
chance.
is
There is no
giving
skill
preference
also
to any
when it
state
comes to lottery.
that can be
So
challenged.
you cannot
So 303
you can't bring
is
it
not
into the
allowing
purview
that
of 301
preference to
and
any
saying
state.
that
And
it is not
303
the
what
act
it
is
is
not
saying,
violative of
the Parliament
301
may,
and
however,
303 and
discriminating
305.
among states.
Next, if you look at
if it is declared by
restrictions
law on
it
trade,
is necessary
trade
to
and
do for the
commerce.
purpose of
So we are
dealing with the
discussing.
situation arising out of
So if you look
state
at the
security of
provisions
goods.
in detail,
So here
301
301
speaks
speaks
about
about to what it is saying.
freedom guaranteed.
Parliament can pass
So
the
what about
discriminatory
302
law
and
when,
303?
when there is
305
case
speaks
speaks
about
about in a
the
particular
restrictions
state.
on
Suppose
freedom of
in
trade
one
and
particular
commerce.
state.
So what are
there
those
is
restrictions?
restrictions.
The first one
There
is
is essential
Parliament's
and there is
power to
scarcity.
regulate trade and
interest
commerce.
the public
In the
so
public
here
interest.
in that particular state they can
So in the
give
public
preference
interest
to that.
under
So here
Article 302,
preference given
Parliament
to state
authorizes
over
to
other
impose
state
such restrictions on
that
the
is
freedom of
supported
trade and commerce
303 clause
or
saying
intercourse
that
between the
if
state
it
and
is
another
necessary.
within
So
the part of
permitting
territory
301
of
what
India
it is saying,
as may be
301
required
is saying
the public
you cannot
interest.
do.
The question whether
302
two
what it is
restrictions
saying
imposed by
you
Parliament
can
by
do
law
when
the
it
are
is
not
supported by
justiciable
what means there is a scarcity.
So,
in the
302 what
public
it is
interest.
saying,
So
Parliament can
in that
impose restriction
time, at that time
in public
Parliament
interest, first
can
point.
question is
Pass
what is
law
public
under
interest.
Article
It is
303
justiciable
clause
issue. So
2.
if it is not public interest you can challenge it in court of law, the court will decide under Article 302. Okay, so the power of Parliament under Article 302 is limited by 303(1). Article 303(1) provides that the Parliament shall not have the power to make any law giving any preference to any state or other by virtue of entry relating to trade and commerce in Parliament. Though here 303 what it is saying, power given under Article 302, when it comes to 305 what saying, in the name of this Article 303 by virtue of 302, they should not give preference to any state over other state. It amounts to the violation of equality. 302. Okay? If a parliament passed a law restricting freedom of the public interest, in that sense, if it looks like it is giving preference to any state, that can be challenged. So 303 is not allowing that preference to any state. And 303 what it is saying, the parliament may, however, discriminating among states, if it is declared by law, it is necessary to do for the purpose of dealing with a situation arising out of scarcity of goods. So here 303 clause 2 what it is saying, Parliament can pass the discriminatory law when there is a scarcity of goods in a particular state. Suppose if in one particular state there is declared as essential and there is scarcity in the interest of public. So here in that particular state they can give preference to that. So here preference given to state over other state, that is supported 303 clause 2 saying that if it is necessary. So permitting 301 what it is saying, 303 1 is saying you cannot do, 303 2 what it is saying you can do when it is supported by what mean there is a scarcity in the public interest. So at that time the Parliament can pass law under Article 303 clause 2. Now if you look at Article 304, 304A empowers state to impose any tax on goods imported from other state if similar goods are in the state subject to similar tax. So what you have to understand is 304 is empowering state to impose a particular tax on a good which is imported from other state. If the same good is having the same tax, so that is valid. So here what is happening, if the same good is having the same tax, the tax can be levied on a good which is imported. 304A. Then what is next provision in this 304B? If there is any discrimination imposing tax, if that local good is not having a tax, but the good imported from outside is imposed tax, that can be declared as invalid. It is discriminatory. First point is, if the same good is there, imported good is there, if both are having same tax. Now, if you look at, but if article state product is not having tax, 304A imposing tax state to impose any tax amounts to discrimination means it is other state if similar goods are freedom of subject to flow of trade and commerce. So what you have to understand. Next one is clause 2 of article 304 is empowering. Clause 2 of this article authorizes the state to impose such reasonable restrictions if the same freedom of trade and commerce the same tax may be required by that is invalid. Public in the name of so here what is happening, if the same good is having the same tax, but what you have to understood is tax can be levied by levied tax by the good which is imported. Is subject to the confirmation. Then what is next provision? That bill passed by the state legislator has to be if there is any discrimination imposing tax, if that local good is not having tax, but that bill can be valid. Imported from outside, even it passed in the public imposed tax, that can be declared as invalid. It is discriminatory. Not for what you have understood. If the same good is there, if the similar good is imported good is there, if both are having same tax, good also you have to impose. No problem. If similar good is not having tax, state product similar is not having less tax, and imposing tax on import more tax on that amounts to discrimination. That amounts means to violation of article restricting the freedom of free flow of trade and commerce. Clause 2 what it is saying. The next one is the public clause 2 of state can impose, but that is subject to the clause 2 of this article authorizes the state to impose such reasonable state restrictions to send certain freedom of trade and commerce assets because it may be required by President interstate relations. Public in the name of public interest you can impose only with the assent of the President. But what you have to understood is tax. Next one is such saving of existing laws. State. Article 305 the confirmation of existing laws and laws that bill passed by the state legislature for state monopolies. So far as the President may be ordered, otherwise the President assent. Sometimes can be it is saving provision. Here the state even it passed in the public. So what it is saying, that is subject to the
laws
president
providing
essay.
for state
So, is not for
monopolies.
what you have to understood.
In a
State
particular
can
section.
impose
So,
tax.
but what happened?
If the similar
For the
board is
Constitution,
having
Fourth
the same
Amendment
tax in
now
the state, make imported
makes
on
existing
good also
law
you have to impose
and
the
future
tax.
laws providing
Similar
for
good is
state
not having
monopoly
tax.
in trade and
Or if similar
trade
good as
immune
having
from
less
attack
tax,
on the
and
ground
if
of
you impose
infringement
more tax
of
on
Article 301
imported
and
good,
302.
that amounts to
Now,
the
Fourth
violation of
Amendment,
Article
they
301.
are immune from
302,
Article 301 and 303,
just
which is
plus
giving,
to what it is saying,
for
in the public
state
interest,
monopoly.
the state can impose.
So, here,
but that is subject to the
and
confirmation
307,
means if
assent
you
of
look at the
307,
307, because the
what it
state
is saying,
has to send
307
certain bills for
empowers
the
Parliament to
president
appoint
assent
such
because it is
authority
requiring
as it considers
President,
appropriate
interested
for
relations,
carrying
so
out
that
purpose
has to
of
be sent
Article
to the
301,
President.
302.
Only with the assent of the President you can
304.
impose
It can,
tax.
next one
It can
is
confer on such
saving of
authorities
existing
such
laws.
duties,
Article 305 saves
So you have to appoint a
existing laws
committee
and
to
laws
see
providing
under Article 307
for state monopolies
empowered
so far
to
as the
appoint
president
authority
may be
to
ordered
functioning of
otherwise
freedom of
direct.
and free and broad
So
trade.
sometimes
It is a saving
Okay.
provision under
So, in
305.
this session,
So
we have
what it
discussed
is
about
saying, 301, 302,
laws
303,
providing
304,
for
305,
state
and
monopolies.
307. So what
particular
you have to
section.
understand.
So,
in
but
this
what happened?
session,
But the Constitution,
the way
Fourth
how the
Amendment now
Constitution makes provisions
makes
for the protection of
existing
freedom
law
of free flow
and
and
future
trade.
laws providing
Normally,
for state monopoly
freedom of
in trade and
free
trade
flow of
immune
trade
from
and
attacks
commerce
on the
is
ground
protected
of
by Constitution
infringement of
under
Article
301.
301.
In remaining articles,
Now, Fourth
the restrictions were
Amendment, they are
imposed. We are
immune
discussed
from
about
Article 301
restrictions.
and 303.
So,
which is giving
there is a difference between restriction and
state
regulation and
monopoly.
compensatory.
So here,
So when it is regulatory and
and
compensatory,
307,
you cannot
if
be
you
declared
look at
it
the
as
307,
invalid under Article
what it
301.
is saying,
So if
307
a
empowers
restriction
Parliament
or
to appoint such
imposing a
authority
tax
as
is
it considers
creating
appropriate
an,
for carrying
conflict
out purpose
between,
of Article 301,
problem
302,
for the freedom of
303,
freedom of
304.
trade and commerce,
It can-
that can be declared as
it can confer on such
So here,
authorities such
301
provisions,
is
duties
subject to
things necessary.
remaining
So you have to appoint a
Article
committee
302, 303,
to see
304, 305,
under Article 307.
So this is what freedom of
empowered
free
to appoint
flow
authority
and
to
trade.
see
This is how the
functioning of the
Constitution
freedom of
try to
flow,
protect
free and
because
broad
here the
trade and
commerce and trade
Okay.
and commerce are very
So,
important.
in this session,
important, essential
we have
for
discussed
the
about
economic fabric.
301,
So how
302,
to protect this
303,
economic
305,
can be
307.
protected. The
So
Constitution
what
elaborate
you have to
provisions
understand in
from
this
301 to 307.
The way how
So
the
this is why
Constitution
we
makes
have maintained
provisions
this for the protection of freedom of
trade
free
and
flow
freedom
and
of trade and commerce.
Normally,
according to
the freedom of
Constitution. Thank you.
free flow of trade and commerce is protected by Constitution under 301. In remaining articles, the restrictions were imposed. We all discussed about restrictions. So, there is a difference between restriction and regulation and compensatory method. So, when it is regulatory and compensatory, you cannot be declared it as invalid under Article 301. So, if a restriction or imposing a tax is creating a conflict between problem for the freedom of trade and commerce, that can be declared as. So here 301 is subject to the remaining articles 302, 303, 304, 305, 307. So this is what freedom of free flow and trade. This is how the Constitution try to protect, because here the commerce and trade and commerce are very important, essential for the economic fabric. So how to protect this economic can be protected. The Constitution have elaborate provisions from 301 to 307. So this is why we have maintained this trade and freedom of trade and come according to Constitution. Thank you.